Good evening, YouTube. Welcome to another character analysis video, and today I'm doing a character analysis on Mighty Mac, the double engine from Thomas and Friends. So let's get right to it. So for Mighty Mac's character, Mighty Mac is a character that was introduced in the season 9 episode Mighty Mac in 2005. And last appeared in the season 12 episode, The Party Surprise, in 2008. In which, in the Thomas and Friends series, Mighty Mac is a narrow gauge engine on the Skarloey Railway who has two faces. The first face is Mighty, and the second face is Mac, and together they form Mighty Mac. For Mighty Mac's personalities, Mighty Mac are two beings in one engine. He is Mighty on one end and Mac on the other, making them the most unusual working engine on the Skarloey Railway. When they work together, Mighty Mac is the strongest engine on the railway, but when they do not, Mighty and Mac pull each other backwards and forwards, only to end up right where they began. Mighty Mac is usually more talkative of the two, while Mac is usually less talkative and unless spoken to, and cheerfully peeping in. Mighty has a deeper voice and is more humble, but he also bears a more gentle giant side, and Mac has a higher voice and is more straightforward with what he is saying. Mighty can also be informative as well as helpful. Mighty Mac and the twins are still kind unless they feel threatened, and will not be afraid to speak up for themselves. And so yeah, that's Mighty Mac and their personality. Now let's talk about their episode. For Mighty Mac's debut episode, Mighty Mac is a new engine on the Skarloey Railway, in which in this episode Mighty Mac are tasked with taking some passengers up to the high hills to see some sights. But however, both Mighty and Mac end up getting into an argument over which way to go, which results in their passenger car derailing and all the passengers having to re-rail the passenger car. And yeah, it's Mighty Mac's episode. One thing I like about Mighty Mac's episode is that it's one of the rare episodes of the hit era one of the rare episodes of the hit era which introduces a new character that doesn't have Thomas play a major role in it. As in most hit era episodes, when a new character is introduced, most of the time the writers often like to pair up the new character with Thomas, and they still do that in this episode, but Thomas only has a minor role, with Thomas only having about 4 speaking lines in this episode. Whereas Mighty Mac takes center stage in this episode rather than taking the back seat. I really like that. It's a nice change of pace. I really wish that the writers did this with all their episodes, which introduced the new characters. But by having the new characters take center stage of their introduction episodes rather than pairing them up with one of the main characters. Now onto how I would have handled Mighty Mac. Although one thing I don't like about Mighty Mac's episode is that Mighty Mac's arguing can get annoying after a while. Can get a little annoying after a while. But their introduction episode is one of the best episodes of the hit era, in my opinion. It easily goes in the top 3 for best hit era episodes alongside Hector the Horrid and Thomas to the Rescue. Now, but now let's get on to how that they were used. After Mighty Mac's just like most hit era characters, after their introduction episode, that they're just cast aside and not given any other spotlight roles, and only being relegated to side roles. Whereas Freddie, who is another narrow gauge engine who was introduced in the following season, managed to get lead episode roles after his introduction. Mighty Mac sadly didn't get the same treatment, and they were just cast aside. They still appeared, though, but only in minor roles. And I think at some point Mighty Mac was planned to return in the CGI series in Blue Mountain Mystery, but both of them were unfortunately dropped. Such a shame they wasted such a character with such an awesome design, and a character who had a lot of potential. Now on how I would have handled Mighty Mac. I would have if I handled Mighty Mac in my own way, I would have rewritten the season 10 episode, Wharf and Peace, and replace Skarloey with Mighty Mac, mainly to give Mighty Mac another spotlight role in an episode, and so that Skarloey doesn't act all wimpy and out of character in this episode. And I think this episode would serve as some more character development for Mighty Mac, Mac is scared of the Mighty is scared. Mac is scared of the wharf and doesn't really like it because of how loud it is. Whereas Mac acts like the voice of reason to Mighty, and even encourages Mighty to not be scared of the wharf and continue with their delivery of transporting the bull to the wharf. That honestly would have made a much better version of this episode, and it could have served as some very nice character development for both Mighty Mac. And at the end of the episode, both Mighty and Mac are no longer scared of going to the wharf. I also would have rewritten the season 12 episode known as The Man in the Hills, and I would have replaced Thomas with Mighty Mac, mainly to make this episode solely narrow gauge focus, and to have the episode be more better written. And also because Mighty Mac did not appear in this episode, and I feel like that this episode could have been the perfect opportunity to have Mighty Mac appear for one more time. It's such a shame that Mighty Mac didn't appear in this episode. And I would have had Mighty Mac return in the CGI series in both Blue Mountain Mystery and season 16, and in the CGI series, I also would have given both Mighty Mac an episode with Donald and Douglas, since they're both twin engines, and to further flesh out their characters. And so yeah, this is what I would have done with my this was my character analysis video on Mighty Mac, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all enjoyed hearing my views on these on this character and how I would fix it. Anyways, that's the end of this video now. Bye.